Okay, we've got a good number of stems in the bowl here. Now I'm just going to rub each one. You may or may not see dirt. It's a good idea just to give it a quick rub anyways, because could have been a spider, a snail, a ladybug, etc. that walked along. You just want to give it a nice quick rub, rinse. Okay. Once I've got some nice trim pieces of stem, I am going to use my bridge cut. So a bridge, quickly, is you take a C with your non-dominant, your non-knife hand, and flip it so that you have a little tunnel here. Your tunnel is going to grasp the food, and your knife goes through the tunnel. It's often called the bridge rather than a tunnel, so you can imagine the knife going under the bridge. Okay. It's often best if your knife blade is longer than whatever you're cutting in half. So for that really long one just then, I should have cut it smaller first. For example, this chard is just about the same length as the knife. If it was longer, I'll just demonstrate anyways. Cut it in half first, because then I will have a better ability to cut it lengthwise. How big are we cutting these? Well, even is ideal, just so that they're going to cook evenly. Now I'm going to switch to the claw. Now for the claw, we're trying to protect our fingertips. Fingertips have more nerve endings, so it's going to hurt more, it's going to bleed more, and it would take longer to heal possibly than if we were to nick our knuckles. We don't want to cut our fingers at all, but accidents happen, and better to nick your knuckle than your fingertip. All right, so the knuckle is facing the knife. What we do not want is a tunnel grasping this food. The knuckles should be, your arm should be perpendicular to your knife. There we go. I'm just going to move my hand back along this. And you could cut these one at a time. You're going to be here for a while. All right, so we do our best not to send you home with bugs, but sometimes you get a little bit of aphids or spider eggs or something going on your leaf. If that's the case, you can try to super thoroughly wash them off, but I tend to just pull off that small affected piece of leaf and compost it. They're a little hard to rub off. And if the leaf is really curled, that's often a sign that there's something hiding out in there. So I have such a surplus here. I'm just going to go ahead and compost that entire leaf, looking a little worse for wear. That is why I'm doing this, is some of these could have been harvested a couple weeks ago, but no one's been here to eat it. So now we are saving it. So when you all come back, we can have a feast. Or we might save this and put it in lasagna for next year awards night dinner, or pasta sauce. We might make some frittatas, empanadas. Who knows what we're going to do with this chard. All right, that's the last of our peppermint stick chard. To move chopped up food or other stuff around than using your knife blade. It's way safer. Also great to clean the table with, great to chop up dough with. And then you can these, probably $1 or $2. Something like this is going to run you more like it's got a bit more of a curve to it. I could cut it this way, which is more rocky, or have it flat side down. It's going to be more stable that way. But you really shouldn't. Okay. salt this water pretty heavily, and we're going to put all those stems in and let them cook for just a couple of minutes. Take them out and put them into ice water for a nice blanch. Alrighty, we have, let's see, 2 pounds of chard leaves and just over 2 pounds of chard stems, as well as 12.5 ounces of mustard greens. All of this is heading to the freezer.